I think you'll find, sir, that there will come a time when black people wake up and become intellectually independent enough to think for themselves, as other humans are intellectually independent enough to think for themselves. Then the black man will think like a black man, and he will feel for other black people. And this new thinking and feeling will cause black people to stick together. And then at that point, you'll have a situation where when you attack one black man, you are attacking all black men. And this type of black thinking will cause all black people to stick together. And this type of thinking also will bring an end to the brutality inflicted upon black people by white people. And it is the only thing that will bring an end to it. No federal court, state court, or city court will bring an end to it. It's something that the black man has to bring an end to himself.
Malcolm said this a long time ago. Malcolm died in February of 1965. So what he's saying here is the same thing that's going on in reference to this black people being treated harshly in the Dominican Republic by other black people. Brown people thinking they're better than black people. Now, I'm not saying that injustices don't happen in Chicago, in Haiti. It just shouldn't exist anywhere. Anybody that doesn't speak out against injustice just because it's their country, that's an injustice in itself. Until, just as Malcolm was saying, until we get a semblance of unity in our mind that we are black people, or whatever we want to call our people, people with a high percentage of African DNA, let's put it that way. It's hard for us to, because it wouldn't happen to Jewish people in the Dominican Republic. There's no way they would come together. It wouldn't happen to Dominicans in New York being deported to the Dominican. It wouldn't happen. And not only would African Americans defend them, I'll talk about that a little later, but injustice, just as Martin said, he died in 1968, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. The embassy in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, issued an alert to all African Americans, people of African descent, dark-skinned people going to the Dominican Republic. There have been cases of people being locked up, knowing they were not of Haitian descent. See, now, that ongoing Dominican migration enforcement that has been going on for a very long time and stepped up in 2014 and 13 because of a Dominican law that said you had to be grandfathered in. You had not putting this on Dominicans, but just putting it on people of Haitian descent or dark-skinned people. Well, the MIREX, which is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, came out today and simply rejected that this was even going on, which in my opinion is a slap in the face, because you have to at least look into it. You have to at least acknowledge, hey, we don't want this happening, etc. But it simply bypasses, overlooks, and skims over this like it's not even important. You see, mistreatment of any people anywhere is mistreatment of people everywhere. Now, if this was happening in Chicago, if this was happening in New York, if this was happening in Atlanta, Georgia, there are a lot of African Americans that would come to Dominicans' defense. There are a lot of Dominicans that wouldn't like it. Dominicans don't want to go somewhere and be mistreated. And just as I have said before, Dominicans do everything in their power. Some are even dying to go to have a better life. But they don't want Haitians to come on. I'm not saying all. I'm just saying there's groups of people who don't want Haitians coming here. Now, what this guy here is doing is deplorable. And I am not saying that this is not happening in Haiti, or Haitians don't do this kind of stuff. I can honestly say I think that they as an African American, you're probably safer in Haiti than the Dominican would be. They have kidnapped a lot of Dominicans over the years. And I'm simply saying it ain't right over there either. They shouldn't be treating Dominicans badly, and Dominicans shouldn't be treating Haitians badly. Now, if you're listening to this and you ain't for mistreatment of nobody, then we can be friends. But if you're trying to justify mistreatment of anybody, just stop listening. Just stop listening. Because it should not be tolerated by no one, mistreatment. I think there's some law here, and I put it in my book of Haitians can't even really fly their flag. Don't quote me on it. It's in my book, but you rarely see Haitian flags flown here. But I'll tell you what, when Dominicans get to the United States, man, they have Dominican parades in the United States. They love to fly their flag, and just like I said, for those people who are xenophobic and don't want other people coming into your country, well, then you shouldn't be doing your best to go to other people's country. And just as I have always said, it's just like white folks in America don't want Mexicans or anybody coming into their country, but anywhere you go, you see white folk. You see the Dominicans all over trying to get everywhere, trying to go have a better life. And some of them have a huge issue with Haitians coming here for a better life. So burning this flag should not be done, and it shouldn't be done by Haitians. It shouldn't be done by, I'm not saying that Haitians don't do it, because certainly they do. I have seen it. It shouldn't be tolerated by anyone. But this thing that comes out from the foreign ministry rejecting that it isn't even happening is a slap in the face of all black people, including Dominicans. Because Dominicans wouldn't want to go to another country. There's Dominicans here who've been confused. Matter of fact, there are a lot of kids here who've been born in this country. They have pulled some of these kids out of schools and sent them to Haiti. Children. Now, this injustice in the Dominican Republic should not be swept under the rug. You still have African Americans talking about there's no racism. Dominicans can't be racist. They're not racist. They just nationalists. Do you hear what I just said? They're just nationalists. Anybody with eyes and can look at the malevolence that Haitians are treated with. It is deplorable. The hostility, the bitterness, the malignancy, and is undeniable in the Dominican Republic towards Haitians. But as African Americans, you got some people who are afraid to speak out about this. If it was happening in America, nobody would have nothing to say. Dominicans wouldn't have nothing to say. They would just say that shouldn't be happening, and I don't like it. If it's happening in any place in America, it shouldn't be happening. Nobody should be treated unfairly based on the color of their skin. And it takes some Dominicans to get out of the Dominican Republic to see how that works. Some of those Dominicans that go to Spain, some of those Dominicans that go to, they understand it then. But until some of them leave, they don't understand that. Because they're not the victim. Yeah, when you go to Spain or when you go to America and you get into a situation, they don't care you Dominican. They see you as black. Or Mexican. The president claims that and I'll leave the link in the description. You know they're building a wall here. He says that he's trying to build a 164-kilometer barrier along its border with Haiti that will stop irregular migration and smuggling. But most people claim it'll be just like the United States. People will go under it or over the top of it. The work has already begun. Look at the link in the description. Also calls for 70 watchtowers and 41 access points for patrolling. What's insulting about the Ministry of Foreign Affairs? Did they say they were going to investigate this? Nope. Did they say they were going to never accept this behavior? It shouldn't be tolerated in the Dominican Republic. Nope. Did they even mention how the Haitians are ill-treated? Nope. Did they even acknowledge the possibility that these things are going on? Nope. And you know what? Most people know, just like in America, that certain groups are treated unfairly. What they had to say was that strengthening of the migration in the Dominican Republic issued by the Embassy of the United States in America in the Dominican Republic is unequal treatment. On unequal treatment for Americans is manifestly unfounded, untimely, and unhappy. If that don't sound like a politician that takes no responsibility, I don't know what does. Even though the embassy received so many complaints, and this isn't people just talking, you can see people on the internet talking about it, how they were stopped. Some of these people have been taking money, cops have asked them for money, and people have given up a bunch of money because they're really afraid. Some of these people have been locked up, knowing, according to the article, that they were not of Haitian descent. Says that they just looking for a. They say that this Merrick stated that the terms of this said notification contradict the excellent bilateral relationship that exists between the Dominican Republic and the United States in all spheres. Didn't acknowledge that it's going on, just like F y'all.